Okay. It's not going to be a criticism per se. It's just something that has been bothering me for some time, and I know it has been bothering other people as well, about the nomination of Maimuna Ceesay Dabo and Fatoumata Jawara. I think a lot of people are frowning at these nominations because people are not quite clear why they're being nominated in the first place. Because one of them, Maimuna Ceesay Dabo, I understand, has not even completed primary school education. And then the other, Fatoumata Jawara, was rejected by the people of Telending, one. And two, she was actually in parliament and she didn't deliver. She was unable to read. She was unable to articulate herself in parliament. And we all saw it. It happened right in our eyes, right in front of us. So there was a revelation, actually. I heard that Maimuna Ceesay Dabo did not finish primary school education. So I wonder, how is this person going to be able to understand some of the documents that are going to be produced in the National Assembly? How is she going to read an article or read? I mean, don't get me wrong, some people did not finish. Okay, so my brother is watching. I have to be careful. So I know that some people did not have the formal education and they went ahead in their adult days and learned the English language and they're able to read and write. And when I saw Maimuna Ceesay Dabo in an interview, I thought that she actually had the education because she was very vocal. She was very articulate in English. She was interviewed in English. But I understand that because she lived in the US, of course, you know, I know of so many people who are illiterate in English or in our formal education system in Gambia, and they came here into the UK or into the other Western countries and were able to speak. But speaking alone is not enough. I think the understanding is what we're looking for. And we know that Maimuna Ceesay Dabo is a Barrow sympathizer. She is, you know, MPP, the Iron Lady, that's what they call her. She is one of the prominent people in NPP. And so, you know, I think people are right to frown at her nomination because we would be questioning whose interest is she there for. Is she actually representing Gambian women? Is Maimuna Ceesay Dabo actually representing Gambian women in parliament? Because I think the president has the privilege to nominate 5 people. And those 5 people, I think, should come from the marginalized group. So women, differently able people, the young people. And I think he's done that. I think on paper or technically, we could say that he nominated Maimuna and Fatoumata, you know, in a capacity to represent Gambian women. But the question is Maimuna Ceesay the right person to represent Gambian women in parliament? Because Maimuna Ceesay Dabo has not been living in the Gambia recently. So I think she came back during the campaign period or so. But she does not have the lived experience of typical Gambian woman, if you know what I mean. So she would not understand how costly it is to go to the NACO, for example, to go and sell products in the market. She's not a market woman. She doesn't go every day to the market to buy products, to understand how expensive these things are. She doesn't struggle to pay for school fees for her children. She doesn't struggle to pay for rent in the Gambia. So she does not understand the realities of Gambian women. Education aside, okay? English speaking aside. I'm just talking about the capacity that she's in parliament for. She is there to represent Gambian women. So somebody representing Gambian women should be someone who understands the realities of Gambian women, who understand the hustle of Gambian women. Okay? And this is why I have a problem with her. She is a Barrow sympathizer, that's one thing. 2, she hasn't completed her education, although she's articulate in English, but I don't know about her reading. It's not just the speaking. And 3, she hasn't lived in the Gambia for such a long time to understand the realities of Gambian women. Because I don't live in the Gambia right now. I do get when they tell me that things are tough. I do understand it. But not to the extent of someone living in their base, in there, waking up every day, going to sell in the market as a market vendor, living in there every day, paying for your children's school fees. I am not that person. And Maimuna Ceesay equally is not that person. She doesn't have a lived experience as we speak. So how is she ever going to effect any change in the Gambia? How? In terms of the welfare of women, I mean. How? How would she advocate for women in parliament if she doesn't have that lived experience? Someone who, you have a car to drive, you have free petrol, you're living in an air-conditioned home. You haven't got that lived experience to challenge some of the issues, to even propose a bill. I think there are better women in Gambia. If we're saying that education doesn't matter, if we're saying that speaking English doesn't matter, if we're saying that we want women in there, we want representation, let us go and have that authentic voice. A woman who has the authentic voice. An authentic voice is somebody who lived the experience of hardship in Gambia, who understands these issues, who's, even if you don't experience the hardship, but you might be interacting with people on a daily basis on the ground to understand their plight. Maimuna Ceesay Dabo was not interacting with women on a daily basis to understand their plight. She was actually campaigning for President Adama Barrow. That's what she was doing on the platform. We saw it. This is the concern. These are some of the concerns that women have. No, so she's not representing a constituency. Maimuna Ceesay Dabo is a nominated candidate or MP. So she is not necessarily representing a constituency. And that is why I think that she was chosen to represent Gambian women as a marginalized group. That's what I think. And I genuinely want to believe that, because other than that, what else? Okay? She doesn't understand the plight of Gambian women. She was based in the US. She doesn't understand the struggles, the in and outs of that country. She doesn't, because she's a privileged person. When she returned back home to Gambia, whether or not I think she returned now, because obviously she's working there. But when she returned back home, she will educate National Assembly member with Mandinka Prova. Absolutely. And that's a joke. That's not why we want these women to be there. Yes, I'm all about women's empowerment. Honestly, I'm all about representation of women in parliament and in leadership positions. Of course. But we want quality over quantity. It's not always about the numbers. It's not always about the numbers. I would prefer a vendor, a female vendor selling in Serekunda market, sitting in parliament than having Maimuna Ceesay Dabo sitting in there. Because that Serekunda vendor, female vendor in parliament understands the hardship of Gambian women. And she would be able to advise the National Assembly members on matters affecting women. Because she lived that. That's their life. That's her life. Okay? Not somebody who's from the US. You had a good life in the US. You came to the Gambia. You had all the privileges. And there you are sitting in parliament in the name of representing Gambian women. What do you know about Gambian women's struggle? What? This is why we are frowning at the president. Within the MPP, if the president so desperately wanted someone who is on her side, a female representative, then choose somebody who is competent. Choose somebody who is competent. I listened to Maimuna Ceesay Dabo's interview. He said the president know what she is capable of. Because she probably proved herself during the campaign. She was the Iron Lady, of course, we knew that. But that's not enough. The parliament is not the campaign ground. The parliament is a place where you represent people or a group. You advocate for them. That's what parliament is for. You scrutinize the bills. You know, what do they call it? That function that everybody says, the oversight function. All the MPs are saying that catchphrase now, the oversight function. How are you going to have any oversight function if you cannot read? It's impossible. So we know then in reality, Maimuna Ceesay Darboe is there for the interest of the president. To add to the numbers. Either to support or to against bills that the opposition brings. Actually to against any bill that the opposition brings. But to support the ones that are being put forward by the NPP. That's what she's there for. And that's not fair on the Gambian people. Women are a marginalized group in that country. And we deserve a better representation in parliament. We deserve somebody who understands the issues and plight of Gambian women to sit in parliament so that they can go head to head with the male counterpart. The parliament is already a male-dominated platform. It's a house that's already male-dominated. We couldn't get the women's bill past the doorstep of parliament. And now we have two women representing Gambian women who don't, well, I couldn't say the same for Fatoumata Jawara because she does understand the issues. I will come to Fatoumata Jawara in a minute. But for Maimuna, she doesn't get it. She probably did when she was in Gambia years ago before she traveled to the US, but not anymore. She is not that authentic voice anymore. And so she does not deserve that seat. And I'll come a little bit later on before I wrap up to say what she can probably do if she genuinely wants to represent Gambian women, what she can genuinely do to be able to be that authentic voice. Maybe we'll come to that in a minute when I have the time. But let's just move slightly to Fatoumata Jawara. Fatoumata Jawara was rejected by the Talending people. I am from Talending. I was born and raised in Talending. And I know the people of Talending rejected Fatoumata Jawara. They don't like Fatoumata Jawara anymore. And there is a reason for that. I advocated for Fatoumata Jawara on my platform. I think I was one of the first women to interview Fatoumata Jawara when she became parliamentarian. I adored that lady. Honestly, I did. Because Fatoumata had a lived experience. She's a very resilient young lady, okay? We cannot take that away from her. She is very resilient. She had gone through a lot in prison and in her political life. We knew that. But Fatoumata transformed to this arrogant young lady, very aggressive. She lost focus. She was there back and forth with the UDP, back and forth with the UDP. Continuously. And in that process, Fatoumata lost herself. She lost herself, her essence. She lost it. Because what? She was fighting with the UDP. She focused so much on the UDP. Lawyer Daboteng, Yindoteng, continuously. Okay? And she lost it. This was, I mean, the past 5 years was her opportunity to shine as a young Gambian woman. That was her opportunity to shine. But she missed that opportunity because she was focused on fighting the UDP. Fair enough, the UDP were also attacking her. Okay, they were attacking her. But for me, I would have expected her to focus on the big prize. How do I develop myself as a young politician? How do I excel in this male-dominated platform or the male-dominated house? That is what I would have been thinking if I was Fatoumata Jawara 5 years ago. That was an opportunity she had. She didn't make use of the opportunity. For 5 years, we haven't seen how much she has progressed in Parliament. She struggled to articulate herself. She struggled to read simple line in English. And she dare tell us, I am not representing the Queen. Or I am not representing British people in Parliament. I am representing Gambian. Hello? Our constitution is not written in Mandinka or Wolof or Sarahule. No. The proceedings in Parliament are not done in Mandinka, Sarahule or Jawara or Fula. It's done in English. So your focus, Fatoumata, should have been, how do I improve myself? How do I go and educate myself so that I can articulate and understand issues that are on the paper? How do I do that? That should have been her focus, I think. Absolutely. When you are educated, you think outside the box. It's not just the English. It's not just, you know, about going to university. It's for me, education is about the experience, the whole experience, being able to see things outside the box, like you said. But, you know, in Parliament, the Constitution is not even asking for too much. It's asking for a parliamentarian to be able to read, to be able to speak, so that they can engage very effectively and efficiently with the proceedings. It's as simple as that. So if you spend 5 years in Parliament and you're still unable to articulate yourself, then you haven't made any progress, my dear. Career-wise, she did not make any progress. Financially, maybe. We've seen how much she's transformed, obviously. She's living a good life, mashallah. And we wish her well on that side. But career-wise, she did not develop. She didn't improve herself. Representation-wise, she fell out with the people of Talending. She was quite aggressive in the last later parts of her time as a National Assembly member. She was very, very aggressive. Even with interviews, I watched the interview with Ifam Bondi. Ifam Bondi was asking her questions. She was asking Ifam Bondi questions. I won't answer this. This is what I'll answer. I won't answer this. That is aggressive. Aggression is not always about fighting, punching. No. It's the tone as well, the attitude. And sometimes Gambian women who are in leadership positions, sometimes they kind of mix aggression and assertiveness. You know, you can be assertive without being aggressive. We saw Dr. Toure, the Vice President of the Republic of the Gambia. We saw how she also transformed from being an assertive leader to an aggressive leader. We saw it. When Dr. Toure was advocating for against FGM, when she was going in the villages of Gambia to speak to communities about FGM, she was the calmest of all. She was assertive, but she was calm. She was respectful. She knew what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. But that all changed when she became a vice president. When she became a minister and then vice president, it all changed. And as women, we do not need to be aggressive to show that we are confident. We do not need to be aggressive to show that we can deliver like men. No. It takes away our essence. We don't. We can be respectful and still be confident and get the job done. So we saw Fatoumata also transforming slowly in the middle of all the attacks back and forth with UDP. She lost focus. She became this aggressive young lady, and she was also called the Iron Lady. Because Gambia has their own definition of Iron Lady. It's about kugena panka, kugena muna hair ak defante. That's what Iron Lady in Gambia means. Musungana. Musome along ko ite nin kewol ni nyongol baka ngaliye keloke aka wuri ka nyonin ka alfal ka jef. That's what you call musungana in Gambia. No. Musungana is about being assertive, being confident. It's about first respecting yourself, respecting others, and sticking for yourself. That is what it means. Do you know? We must not forget our essence as women. We don't need to be aggressive at all. So Fatoumata has not improved over time. She had her time to shine. She did not. She didn't make use of it. Why should we give her another opportunity? Is she the only Gambian woman who can represent women in Gambia, in parliament? Of course not. Like I said, even if you put my mom in parliament now, she would do a better job than Fatoumata did. I am 100% sure of that. Because despite the fact that these grassroots Gambian women are not educated, they understand issues. They have the plight of Gambian women at heart. They understand issues. And they can challenge issues in parliament, which Fatoumata did not do. How many times did Fatoumata speak about one single bill or a women-specific issue in parliament? How many times? How many times did she speak about standing-specific issue in parliament? How many times? And how did she say it? So the Talending people spoke. In large numbers, they said they don't want Fatoumata. They have enough of Fatoumata.